This is what we are. We are.
Salam. Hello, everyone. You may believe it or not, I had no nationality for about 17 years of my life. And was living some part of the world as a refugee. Until I decided to go, I was forced and decided to go to my parents' country. A very known country, but pretty much unknown, Afghanistan. When I moved to Afghanistan, I started a lot of things. Like I started to see people again, and to see my opportunities there. And I did a lot of startups there, like in IT, in things like that. And then I decided to start an incubator there because in Afghanistan, it's pretty much needed something like an incubator because there are a lot of ideas there, but they don't know how to start it. It's just like an unknown thing there. So since like 3-4 years ago, ADIB, Afghan Development Inspiration Bureau, wherein we help young students to grow their ideas, especially we welcome girls there because they were the part of society that were more unknown. And it's been pretty much a welcoming thing there. And in the randomness of the internet somehow, I found a project, I found an idea in the internet called, portals. It's like we all are talking to our community. We see inside our community, inside our cities, people are walking, suddenly you start talking with them like 10, 15 minutes. Like you may like them or not, you may continue contact or things. How about having it international wise, like have it worldwide, like talk with people, total strangers from Herat, my city, or New York, or Rwanda, or Myanmar, wherever in the world. So this idea is like a gold shipping containers equipped with, we call it immersive technologies, that where you walk into physically to be connected virtually. And we call it wormholes around the world. We usually carve wormholes around the world. So suddenly you go into it, then you're in Africa, in Afghanistan, wherever. So these are like full body image of that person, and these portals are like all the same design, same equipments inside. And this idea was started in Washington, D.C. The founder of it, Amar Bakshi, who is now in D.C. And they started with Michelle, and then first let's listen to them, what they talk about it. Let's listen to Amar and Michelle. And I want to roll this ball. I really wanted to shoot it from the first time I came here. So yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Portals is a global public art initiative where we take shipping containers, paint them gold, and equip them with immersive AV so that when you enter one, you feel like you're in the same room as someone in an identical space somewhere else on Earth.
The first portal was our first experiment on connecting strangers that had never met and facilitate conversations and see if people liked it. It was then I realized that we had hit on something. You will walk in and have a memorable moment with someone.
Remarkable.
It was amazing.
We spoke about work, about life, family.
Stepping into this portal and immediately being transported.
You forget that there's this teeming life outside.
And what I really appreciate about it is not just the dialogue, not just connecting vocally, but the physicality of the dialogue.
We recognized that Portals was really a space for people to use how they wanted. So it's not just one-on-one encounters between strangers anymore. This is now a platform people can use in any number of different ways.
sunshine when she's gone. Stand.
It's an amazing technology, making it seem like you're standing right in front of me.
Portals has become a platform where a lot of people can just show what they do, their art, their music.
We had joint concerts. There was an Afghan rapper in Afghanistan. He rapped while two dancers at the University of Maryland kind of interpreted his rap.
Yeah! A young man that I spoke to lives in the same neighborhood that I grew up in.
In our neighborhood, where this portal is, you have the highest rate of mass incarceration of black men. So it should make for a real interesting discussion on what our experiences are with the criminal justice system.
What the portal does is it doesn't just give you those faces, it just makes you feel you're right there.
It feels like you're standing right there.
We can connect one by one and share our own stories and learn the truth about every country and every culture.
We could many spaces and create this wonderful experience to connect people in different parts of the world.
It's aiming to connect different disciplines such as art, science, literature.
What are you learning in reading and math?
I started working as a journalist, so no math at all.
That's a pretty fun fact.
We had classical Iranian musicians perform live for 250 people gathered just a block from the White House.
We are curating the Valley Portal. We think this is an awesome opportunity to connect Rwanda to the rest of the world.
Young people from all around the world coming up with new ideas and making those ideas a reality.
In Cuba, we partner with an arts collective. They created something unique for us. In Mexico, we partner with Arte Alameda, which is an arts laboratory of video art as well. So it's really easy for someone if they want to connect with an artist in Zimbabwe or a musician in Rwanda. We can make that happen. I think what differentiates us from just any old video call is that we have trusted partners around the world. And they are able to reach out to their wider network in their cities and recruit people to come and participate in the portal.
We've worked hard to make people feel like they're in the same space. And they're all things like the particular height of the camera, the distance that people are away from it, and the brightness of the projector. So all these things together make people able to have these conversations easily. It just feels like it's you and this other person.
It's really important that we understand other cultures and we know how they work and we share with them all that we can.
These encounters have created an incredible time capsule of this moment in our collective history. We are adding portals in Myanmar and Detroit, from Newark, New Jersey to Nairobi. Any institution, any community that wants to join the Portal Network can, because everyone brings something to the table. And so what we are trying to shape is a global network that everyone owns together, and that becomes ever more important, meaningful, impactful with each new point in the network.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, take care.
Thank you.
That's great.
Well, yeah. This was a very short talk about portals and what we did in the past 2.5, nearly 3 years of operation. And it got really hot after the first year that suddenly we grew and we got to a lot of cities. And one reason why we painted gold, you know, all of us love gold, like the color is like precious and the gold is precious. So the idea of people who are inside, their stories are precious for us. And that's why we painted gold, because the participants who are coming in, they bring their ideas and stories to it, and they brought value for it. Like we put it always like open for suggestions, and each participant had his or her own idea and suggestion how to do it. Like at first it was artist collaboration, then it became open and people brought their ideas. Let's do storytelling events, let's do musical events, let's do like painting together, dancing, like eating even. Even we had like eat ceremonies there, like big even holidays like New Year's. And all these events were the participants' ideas, and we put it open for that. And the portals always are in different shapes, like tents or the containers based on the space that we have. Like we usually will have it like in container ones. And even portal screens, which they are bi-directional video walls, which they can be always on. Like it doesn't need any person to run it. Like it can be online forever. And now we have, in a lot of cities around the world, from North America, like South America, American Caribbean, Europe, Africa, Asia, Middle East, and all these parts, we have portals, and they're always online, offline, and nearly 40 portals around the world we have, and nearly 15 to 20 online and offline, because they are mostly based on events, and they have a time, and you can go to the website, check which one is online right now, locate the nearest one, and yeah, participate in it. And they are in different sort of institutes. It doesn't matter where is this portal hosted. Like we have it in universities, in public spaces, in parks, in governmental spaces, in shops, in malls, wherever. In Berlin, we put it in, like for like a couple of months, we put it in a very huge refugee camps there in Tempelhof. And there are nearly 5,000 to 6,000 people there, refugees. And we connected them to other refugee camps around the world and to other portals, like to hear their stories, what happened to them. And to, like, in Milwaukee, which is one of the neighborhoods of the United States, they have a lot of people in prison and jail. And the curator there was a person who was in jail for 15 years. And they have a lot to share, like one of those coolest places to connect to. I always like them. In Kabul, Afghanistan, my country, we have portals there, like in art centers there. And to other places and countries and cities, different places. Even we have it in museums, like in Holocaust Museum, we had it. They were connected to Berlin and Erbil and Amman, and was, yeah. And these screen portals, we can put them like everywhere, like in the way we put it in UNICEF and United Nations. They were at the hall, the center, and then it was connected to somewhere in the world, maybe in Iraq, maybe in Afghanistan, maybe Mexico, or wherever. And people were passing by, just like normally, and then saw someone there and they start talking pretty normal, like in front of you. Because it gives the feeling of being like in the same room, talking like in front of each other. Because it has like, we always try to have eye-to-eye contacts, which is the toughest thing to do with technology. And you need to have a very good spot for it. One of the things that always we struggle on Portal. And but we find it out how to do it. And we even tried it with other technologies, and like these events that we had, like painting together, two painters were trying to paint an idea, a shared idea to do it, artist collaborations. Even dances, like the center one is Herat, which in Herat, my city, people love music and kind of they like to move and dance. It's like a very energetic thing there. And even yoga classes, different things. And all these portals, like are, as Michelle said in the video, we have trusted partners around the world. And in each one, there is a curator. There's one or two curators there who they run the portal, and they are well connected to their community, and they invite and they make events. It's the core thing of our project, like the idea of the curator, which they are bringing to it. And I couldn't fit all the curators in it, in this frame, but there are a lot of curators. Each portal, like I said, one or two person. And yeah, they do outreach to the community for recruitment, for telling what's going on here, how to use it, and sometimes they do interpretation or translation sometimes, which usually it's not that much needed because people find a mutual language, like, yeah. And we had a lot of different events, like things that we can use. Like it's a space the participant desire to use it as a language learning center. Just try to use it. You want to have a history thing to understand history of like Cold War in Afghanistan or Middle East. And we had a class like that, like a class of history from Afghanistan to New York to do it. Or research, or art and culture, science and technology things. We had pitches from different countries, like we had one portal in Silicon Valley, and there were people there, and we started some pitches from around the world to find investors for the ideas that the portals were inside those cities, like Herat, like Kabul, like others. And we had developments there too. Like there were a couple of developers together from Iraq and New York and DC. They tried to work on an idea, developing some app together, and that was a place that thing happened, that it started. And mentoring, like Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google, like started to have some mentoring sessions in the portal for like a couple of days. And like creative networks, like we're trying to have more networks as possible and add more portals around the world to our community, to our little community that we have. And I hope that we can have one in Barcelona. And other stuff, like we had even VR technology in the portal, but it's kind of tricky for us how to use it. But it was really nice experience that we had. And we hosted events, big events, like Amar said. We had big musical festival from Iran in Washington, D.C., just like next to White House. And these are some photos, random photos around the portals that we had around the world, like yeah, this one is in Erbil, Iraq, is in a refugee camp. And this one is Herat, this one is Milwaukee, and yeah, this one is Herat, Mexico. And yeah, it's different part of the world, different places, different institutes. Yeah, it's just a little class that we made, like a teacher from Iran, from Tehran, and talking to some kids in New York about, some lessons. And lots of partners that we had, like our idea is not, doesn't make any revenue for us. It's an art project and we put it public and we always look for hosts around the world. They invite us or they host us or they sponsor us to have a portal there. And that's how we have this amount of portals. And we have some ideas that we are developing on with the portal. Like the core idea is portal. What we're trying to do is like portal path. Like that's so cool. Like you walk in the street I call it a portal street. Then you see a lot of screens there. It's another part. Another part is a street in, for instance, in Paris or in New York. It's kind of nice and somehow creepy. And even Portal Dome, like you walk in a huge space of portal, and the whole screen there is like another city, maybe in Iraq. It's just like small Iraq or small Afghanistan or small Mexico, wherever. And even portal buses can have like portal is, the name is portal, so we can portal it, like portable portals. They can have it. And these containers, these portals, we always move them. Like it's just like ship them and put it somewhere else in a city or another city. That's it. So easy. The only thing that they need is electricity on a internet cable to be connected. And yeah, I hope that we can find more portals in Europe. That I'm based now in Berlin for a couple of more months there, and I'm looking for more portals around Europe. And let's hope for it. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And one more thing, I'm proud to be part of the IAM family. It's very welcoming, and a couple of months ago I joined them. It's so nice, and like we all are family. Thank you. Bye.
In randomness, we trust.